Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer Age of Sigmar's Dawnbringers, Book V, Shadow of the Crone. So it was Book 5, Shadow of the Crone. It was kindly sent as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop and is another campaign book. It's in fact the 5th campaign book to be released for 3rd edition Age of Sigmar, which typically, if we follow the pattern of every game Games Workshop makes in the last 10 years, campaign books kind of signal the end of an edition as the plotline moves forward. So what's the thrust of this guy? Well, overall, the main topic here is going to be a Daughters of Khaine unit, a Daughters of Khaine sort of bespoke army list, and then a Regiment of Renown for Order, which is probably one of the coolest sets of models I think they've made in Age of Sigmar. And a schism amongst the Daughters of Khaine, the sort of like new antagonist Cruthuza, the Crone seer, has basically caused like a weird sort of heresy amongst the Dark Elves, the Daughters of Khaine, the Dark Elves. Just call them Dark Elves. What? Just call them Dark Elves. And this has like come about because she believed that Morag High, who is a aspect of one of the ancient elf gods from the world that was consumed by Slaanesh, was speaking to her. And so when Morathi basically had her ascendancy and split open Slaanesh and took out the parts that made her Morathi Khaine, a tiny sliver of Morag High was released, this like sliver of God that spoke to her. And so she decided to put on this crown, this like sort of like ancient crown that she discovered that put out her eyes. And then the voice just went silent and she basically suffered in silence for like 20 years and was cast out. So her big prophecy that she was going to become the seer, she was kind of left to like languish for a while. And then eventually the voice comes back at this dawning of the tide. And it's caused a bunch of people to believe that Khaine was not the only elf guard that was, able to survive. And there's a whole faction that's gone with her. And this sort of sub-faction inside the Daughters of Khaine have become a like little army on their own. And basically, if you want a simple description of it, it's going to be the Dark Elf, or the Daughters of Khaine minus all the snake stuff. So all the snake stuff that goes directly to Morathi Khaine and her faction. The rebels basically don't use any of it. And it kind of focuses on like the outcasts, like the warlocks and the Doomfire warlocks, and sort of like the people that are lower in the totem pole because of Morathi's cult. Then we've got Callis Toll. God, these miniatures are so nice. This is a Regiment of Renown, so it's basically going to replace like your ally contingent. Doesn't matter how many points it is. Any Order army can take it as long as they can take allies. And it's 2 heroes that form a unit, and then 4 companions that form a unit as like a little like subunit, and they bounce off of each other. But the bulk of this book is actually devoted to Strongpoints. And it's funny because they did a 40K version of this called, I think it was even called Strongpoint Assault. I'm pretty sure like at the end of like 7th edition, or even 6th edition Warhammer 40,000, where you were just attacking terrain pieces. And it was kind of a way of rebranding the terrain stuff that was kind of, it didn't have rules so much and wasn't like a key feature of the game. There's an entire battle pack in here on how to do that. So a whole bunch of rules for the Strongpoints themselves. So they're basically, it's giving stats and resource points to the terrain features you already have. So like a Guardian Idol, for instance, has 15 wounds and a 4+ save. And it costs 5 resource points. So if you're playing a 50 resource game of Strongpoint, then you get to spend 5 of that on one of those, which means you need a hell of a terrain collection. You need 10 of these guys to get to 50. Although some are more expensive than others. So like, for instance, this one's fashioned the likeness of a hero from the Age of Myth. The perimeter of every Strongpoint is ringed by Guardian Idols that stand vigil. It's a terrain feature. It's impassable. And friendly models within 3 get a 6+ ward. So it gives you a cool 6+ ward. I would assume that would also mean the other Strongpoint things. So it'd pass off ward saves to the other like units. A Nexus Siphon's got 20 wounds and a 4+ save, costs 8 resources. It's impassable. And it's got a Harness Geomantic Energy. Friendly models affected by the Guardian Idol's Sentinels of Civilization scenery rule have a 5+ word instead of a 6+. So you tag teams these things together. And the Guardian Idols within 24 of the terrain feature. So this thing, the Nexus Siphon, powers up all the Guardian Idols. And then you got Domicile Shells. So like they're just walls basically. You get a 4+, no flee within 6 of it. Baleful Realm Gates, give you a little teleport. Shattered Temples. There's sacred sites. You get +1 to chanting rolls for priests, and the rally command works better. And a cleansing Aqualith. At the start of your hero phase, you can heal up to D3 wounds allocated to each friendly unit. That's wholly within 12 of this terrain feature, and you roll separately for each one. Now, interestingly, all of the terrain features are order in here. Also, the Realmscape objectives all get their own rules for when you place objectives during the missions. But it's all order stuff. So even though there's like a pile of like Khorne terrain, I'm pretty sure, I think it's all out of print, so it doesn't get any features in here. It's kind of weird they didn't do both. Although maybe just because it's out of production, they haven't got it in here. But you just as easily done like the chaosed up ruins that were in Warcry, and then the Khorne like terrain features and stuff like that. But this is what we got. This is it. This is what we got. It's all good guy stuff. So even the bad guys would be defending Strongpoints using the good guy models. Attack the Strongpoint, and then you get a Path to Glory, part 4, chapter 4 of it, and it's all about the Strongpoints. Basically, you build a city. And then as you play games, you have to defend various points in the city, and your Strongpoint stuff carries damage over, and you have to spend to repair it. It's a neat system. It's just giving you like just more rules for your terrain, really. And that ends the 4th chapter. There's 6 different battle plans to play all through it. So if you are playing Black to Glory, like you have to have a Strongpoint piece in a lot of these sets. Cool. I think it would have been a really cool thing to launch the edition with. It just feels like it's one of those things where it's like, cool. Like, yeah, there's a reason to buy a couple pieces of terrain to play some games. I like it, but like the timing's weird, if that makes sense. Like the whole edition's been spent basically doing match play and kind of ignoring the terrain, and then to draw the features back to terrain at the very end. Just leaves not a lot of meat on the bone in this book. And that leaves us over to the two actual meat on the bone rule sets. So we got the Followers, the Renegade Prophet. This is Crethuza, the Crone Seer. She's a cool support hero. I mean, she's in like the support hero price tag area. She's only 170 points. So with 14 movement, because she flies, and a 5+ save, 6 wounds, she's pretty easy to kill. She has Burnt Offerings. Once per turn, the hero phase, if this unit is wholly within 6 of a Cauldron of Blood, you can say they'll commune with Morag High. If you do so, pick, or Moray Heg, sorry. Morag High, I don't know why I said high. Probably Uruk High, keep that in mind. It's Moray Heg. If you do so, pick one friendly Daughters of Khaine unit wholly within 9 of this unit that's not a snake person. And then on a 2+, you can pick one of the following things. So either Prophecy of Silence, things within 3 can't take commands. Enemy unit, Prophecy of the Dark Wings. This unit can immediately make a normal move. If it has not moved yet, retreat or been set up in the battlefield this phase. So as long as it's your first move, you can immediately move during the hero phase. And then Prophecy of Reclamation until the end of the turn. While this unit's contesting an objective, the enemy units can only contest the objective if they have the hero or monster keyword. She's always got a 4+ ward, so the 6 wounds are effectively 9 wounds because you're going to shrug half of them. And then maybe more if you get lucky, maybe less if you don't. And then Murder of Crows. It's a prayer, cast on 4, range 18. And if answered, pick an enemy unit within range invisible to the chanter. The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, then roll a die. If the roll is equal to or higher than the wounds characteristic of that enemy, subtract 1 from the rolls made for attacks made for the rest of the battle. It's a -1 hit forever. So like a neat support piece, but very glassy. You know what I mean? And if you take her faction, the Crone Seer's Pariahs, you get the following abilities. First of all, no snake people. So no Scathborn, Melusi, Shadow Queen, or Morathi Khaine. All units in your army gain the Crone Seer's Pariahs keyword. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by them is a 6, it auto wounds, and the render goes up by 1, so they get hittier, even though that's Daughters of Khaine, so they're firing buckets of dice at you. Laden with Prophecy, a friendly, the Crone Seer's Pariah's Cauldron of Blood is either empty or full. At the start of the battle, it's empty. At the end of a phase in which the enemy the enemy model within 3 of the Cauldron was slain by an attack by the Cauldron of Blood, the Cauldron of Blood becomes full. So basically, if it kills something within 3, it puts it in the pot and it becomes full. It's like an ogre pot. Subtract -1 from hit rolls that target the friendly Pariahs units that are wholly within range of its Cauldron of Blood's Blood Shield ability. And a friendly full Cauldron of Blood has a 4+ ward save against wounds caused by shooting attacks. So you're always -1 to hit inside the blood field, but you're also 4+ ward for the Cauldron itself if it gets full during the game. You get Bloody Haruspices. At the start of any phase, you can pick one friendly full, the Crone Seer's Pariah's Cauldron of Blood within 6 of a friendly Crethuza the Crone Seer. And if you do so, that Cauldron of Blood becomes empty, and Crethuza can immediately use the Burnt Offerings ability. If it's in the hero phase, that Cruiser, the Crone Seer, can use it twice instead of once. So basically, she gets to put out 2 things. Like 2 units can be no commands within 3, or you can have 2 objectives only be able to be contested by monsters and heroes. Skilled Skirmishers. Once per turn in the charge phase, after an enemy unit finishes a charge move within 3 of a friendly Doomfire Warlock unit, roll a die. On a 3+, they can retreat 2d6 inches. But only 1 unit can do it per turn, so you get to like hit and run kind of. Accepted Outcasts. Friendly Doomfire Warlocks gain the battlefield roll. Fanatical Faith. Everybody gets a 6+ ward because you don't have your escalating ward saves and stuff. And the Blood reveals all. You can do the following heroic action. Pick 1 friendly Crone Seer's Prize hero within 9 of a empty Cauldron of Blood. Then pick 1 other unit that's within 3 of the hero. They take D3 mortal wounds and roll a die on a 4+, it becomes full. It's not even automatic. So you do D3 mortal wounds and it might not even be enough to fill it up. Then you're going to get 3 prayers, a command trait, a artifact, a grand strategy, and 3 different battle tactics. So your prayers, you can get a Augury of Battle. It's answered on a 4 and has a range of 14. Pick a friendly prize unit wholly within range invisible to the caster. They get a 5+ ward instead of their 6. Auspicious Strike. It's a answered on 4, range of 14. If answered, pick a friendly prize unit wholly within range invisible to the caster. Enchanter, sorry. Until the next hero phase, the unmodified hit roll of an attack made with a melee weapon that targets that unit's a 1. The attacking unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of that weapon after all the attacks have been resolved. And then finally, Wings of the Crone Goddess. As a prayer that has an answer value of 3 and a range of 14. If answered, pick a friendly the Crone Seer's Prize unit wholly within range invisible to the Chanter. That unit can make a normal move and can fly until the end of the phase. And then finally, your grand strategy is Destined Deeds. Hasten the inevitable. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are 1 or more friendly units wholly within 6 of the long battlefield edge in the enemy territory and more than 6 from your territory. So basically, you need to get to the other side's long edge and not like run the edge of your board edge. Your command trait is Blessings of the Crone. Roll a dice for each enemy unit. Sorry, Proselyte of Moray Hag. Roll a dice each time an enemy unit within 12 of this general receives a command. On a 5+, they must spend an additional command point to receive that command. If they choose not to spend it, the command is not received, and the command point that was spent is lost. Then Artifact of Power. Tools of the Prophecy. Once per battle, before carrying out the Blood Reveals All heroic action, the bear can say that they'll consult the Rune of the Weave. If they do so, they get +1 to see if it becomes full. And then your battle tactics: Murder the Unbeliever. Pick 1 enemy unit within 3 of a Cauldron of Blood to complete this tactic if it's destroyed. Purge the Flock. Pick an objective controlled by your opponent. You complete the tactic if you control the objective at the end of the turn. There's no enemy models contesting it. And then finally, Proclamations of Moray Hag. You complete the tactic at the end of the turn if you used more command abilities than your opponent this turn. It's all fairly doable. I understand that it's a sub-faction army and that it's fairly limited, but there isn't really a huge gimmick here. Like there isn't like a unified gimmick. Does that make sense? The gimmick is kind of, yeah, she doesn't like Morathi, so you can't use any of the snakes. And in return, you get prayers instead of magic, and your Cauldrons of Blood get slightly better. Yeah, it looks neat. I mean, it strips out a bunch of things, but in return, you get a very glassy hero. So I guess we'll see. It just feels like they wanted that cool model to come out, and she had a cool story, and so they wrote an army. I don't think it's particularly competitive, but it's it seems fine, I guess is what I would say. Then we're on to this cool Regiment of Renown. Again, this is all vibes, these guys. They are clocking at like 350 points, I think. So they're still usually under a 2,000 point allowance. Yeah, 350. They're under a 2,000 point allowance for, allies. So they'd fit in even a smaller game. You get 1 Callis Toll unit and 1 Toll's Companions unit. And if the Saviors of Cinderfall Regiment of Renown is included in your army, the following ability applies. So first they get Duty Bound. While a friendly Saviors of Cinderhall units wholly within 6 of an objective get +1 to save rolls that target them and +1 to ward rolls as well. And then Sentenced to Death. At the start of the battle, pick 1 enemy in the battlefield to be sentenced to death. Attacks made by melee weapons by Saviors of Cinderfall that target that unit always hit on 2+ regardless of any modifiers. So everything hits on 2s against the things that you've called out. And then they're basic humans. Like Callis and Toll have a 5-inch move, 5 wounds, 4+ save, bravery 8. They got some cool flintlock pistols, Nazarite blades, just standard hero stats, 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1/2 damage, and a pistol. They have 5+ wards, but remember it'll be 4+ next to an objective. Axian firewood stakes. So Toll has these after the unit has fought for the first time in the combat phase. You can attempt to say that Hanover Toll will plunge an Axian firewood stake into the heart of the foe. If you do so, pick an enemy model and roll 2d6. They'd be within one of him. If the roll is greater than their wounds characteristic, they're just dead. He just like super stakes someone and then it lights up on fire because it's Axian. Right tools for the job. Callis and Toll have sacred bullets and blade prepared for particularly deadly foes. Double the damage characteristic of an attack made with the unit's weapons if they target a wizard or demon. And then get it done. Callis Toll and their companions are renowned for their dogged commitment to the mission. If this unit makes a charge move, you can re-roll charge rolls for friendly Toll's companions units that are within 12 of this unit until the end of the phase. So, yeah, I mean, they're just fine. They're just cool humans. And then Toll's companions have all the special abilities. So they have 2 less wounds, but the same core stats, right? 5-inch move, 4+ save. And then they get a Khaine gun on the Spy Mistress. It's got 2 shots, 4s and 3s, -1/1 damage. I love that it's just a Khaine. It's like those things existed. I've seen them. I remember I went to the armory at the Tower of London in England once, and I got to see all these wacky, weird weapons like Khaine guns and pistol swords. And you don't think that stuff's real until you see it in real life. They've got perfectly balanced sabers, decking rope and grapnel, which is on the thief, the Castellan sword on the Castellant, and the vicious beacon claws on the Gryph-hound. The saber is 4 attacks. It's like a standard hero thing, but 1 damage. 3s and 3s, -1/1 damage. The decking rope and grapnel's got 1 attack with a 2-inch range, 4s and 2s, -2, 3 damage. So it's like a 1 big hitter. And then the Castellant sword, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1/1 damage. And the vicious beacon claws is just 4 3s and 4s attacks. They're elites. They can issue themselves units because they're all characters. The Gryph-hound's a companion. Valius the Keeper Axian has a wound characteristic of 5 because he's a Stormcast, so one of them has a 5 wound characteristic. They'll break upon my shield. While this unit includes Valius, the Keeper of Axian, ignore all modifiers to their saves, positive and negative. Oh, sorry, ignore negative modifiers. They can gain positive modifiers, which is kind of cool. Secrets in the Shadows. While this unit includes Mistress Varentia, each time an enemy unit is within 12 of this unit gets a command. On a 5+, you get a command point. And then Silent as Death. This is what the Thief's here for. During deployment, instead of setting up this unit and a friendly Callis and Toll on the battlefield, you can put them aside. At the end of your movement phase, you can set them up wholly within 3 of any terrain feature and more than 9 from the enemy. Then set up a friendly Callis and Toll within 3 of this unit. So basically, they're like the infiltrator team that get them where they need to be to do what they need to do. And that's kind of it. We got the Strongpoint Assault Battle Pack for playing it if you want to do it competitively, along with like match play rules. You get like some special core battalions, like a Strongpoint Guard, Wallbreaker Battery, Swift-Runner Scouts, dudes that like man the walls, and some battle plans for it. So if you wanted to run a tournament for Strongpoint Assault where everybody brought their own terrain, you could do it. And then it's just points, and that's it. The Dawnbringers Book 5. So like I said, this is the story moving forward and some very cool models. But it's a bit light on like, additional units and stuff like that. You get the one Daughters of Khaine thing, and you get a very cool Order unit. Those models are fantastic. But overall, this book is, unless you're very into Callis and Toll or you play Daughters of Khaine, I think this is a pass for me. I don't think this is a smash for me. This is if you like collecting these things and you like the background and stuff like that, there's not a lot in here that's not going to end up on the app, right? Because the battle plans or at least the War Scrolls going up on the app. And if you're not planning on playing, the Daughters of Khaine like sub faction unit, the regiment or the Army of Renown, then you're buying this for the background, right? Still a cool book. I like that they do this kind of like, it feels like these books get designed to buy 6 months of releases or 5 months releases in this case, minus Christmas, before they do something bigger, right? So this is kind of like the wind down. And you get a couple new models each month. It keeps you interested in the game, kind of moves the story forward, sets the landscape out, right? Like when they did this with Dark Imperium, 8th edition, they did like a whole bunch of these campaign books, and then you had big monstrous events at the end of it all. Same with like the end of 7th edition, right? We had the Cicatrix and the Eye of Terror and a new 13th Black Crusade. Everybody died. Like this is where they do like big key shifts in the storyline. So we might see another one of these with one more shift. I don't know going forward, but this is the one for right now. So there it is. Thanks for Workshop. Send this along to review. And thanks you guys for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Till then, I'm Ash. Have a good night.